Hello and welcome, my mold spores. We've got another Bloons Tower Defense Science video for you guys, and today we're focusing mostly on the druids. And in particular, we want to understand the avatar of Wrath. Now, if you guys don't know, in the most recent update for Bloons Tower Defense 6, they changed druids around quite a bit, mostly involving the Hard Thorns and the Thorn Swarm upgrade. They wanted to have both paths be a viable option in the game. So we want to understand whether or not the top path or the middle path is actually better for an Avatar of Wrath. I think it's pretty important to understand how a druid works before we even talk about the pop counts of the druids, because we want to understand whether or not it's worth it to get different kind of upgrades, and why do we always seem to have 5 druids surrounding our Avatar of Wrath. We're going to notice that there's this magical little multiplication symbol right here, times 5. Now that is going to increase the speed of your attack on this tower right here. So realistically, you want to make sure that every single one of your druids has a times 5 multiplier. Later on, we're going to see how much that multiplier affects your druid's popping power, but for now, we want to see just what does a base Avatar of Wrath do. So the way we're going to run this experiment is by sending out 999 balloons on the screen, and then at exactly whatever time we want to start this timer, we press give ourselves 1 billion lives, and then we wait 1 minute and see how many pops we've got. So we're going to start this at 2:10 and wait for 1 minute. So after 1 minute of balloon popping deliciousness, a base Avatar of Wrath only got 14,405 pops. That's not very many. I mean, if we compare that just to a regular Populous Druid, yeah, it's a pretty good amount more. But at this point, it just doesn't really seem worth it. That's a $50,000 tower right there. That needs to do more than that. For our second test, we're going to be using a Heart of the Thunder Avatar of Wrath. We want to see how is this going to affect our popping power. If we have everything on the screen basically fully filled up, how many pops will we get? So again, we're going to give ourselves like a bunch of lives here, and at 4:35, we're going to wait 1 minute on our pops. I did want to show you guys that the lightning is kind of ridiculous here, so hopefully we're getting the max pops out of these kind of random balloons here, and see if this works out. So I messed up my test, but I reran it, and I did run it for an actual minute this time. And this time around, we ended up with 32,136. That more than doubles our current popping power on this guy right here. That is pretty delicious. But now, we're going to check it out with that middle path. For this test, we're going to be running a Heart of the Oak, or rather, focusing on the Thorn Swarm, which changes the amount of spikes we send up from 5 to 8. Realistically, that should be approximately, what? I did the math while waiting. That should be approximately 60% more popping power. Let's see if that makes sense. 22,994! I mean, without actually looking at the exact percentage there, that is a pretty good amount of damage right there. But we're going to notice that right now, as of just a base druid, it seems like the lightning might be the Avatar of Wrath that you want to go for. But we need to go into more depth. This is definitely going to look a little funky here, and I wish I could make it look really pretty and awesome and nice for you guys, but I will make a graph after this so we can kind of see it in action. But what I want you guys to see is that we do have some druids that have 5 times druid ability. We have a druid that has 4 times ability. We have some druids that have 3 times ability. And we've got some druids that have 2 times abilities, and a druid that has 1 times ability. And last but not least, we want to do a druid with no times ability. Actually, let's put him in a better spot. Let's put him over here. And then we're going to run this again for a single minute, and we want to see how much damage are we actually going to get out of this guy. All right, so after a full minute of popping here, let's look at the numbers and see if we can just figure something out just by looking at it. We're going to start with the base guy of about 500. Ooh, that's actually a good number there. All right, then times 1 is going to be about 700. Okay. All right, actually exactly 200 more? Yeah, almost exactly 200 more. For a 2 times... we get a... Ooh, where's my 2 times? Where's my 2 times? There he is. 935. Another 200 pops. That's really interesting. Just over 200. Our 3 times, another roughly 200 and something pops. Our 4 times, ooh, we're finally getting a little higher over here, going from 11 to 1400. And then for our 5 times, we get 1768. So let's graph this out. Hey, I think I can say that I did a pretty good job with our testing so far, because this looks literally like a perfect graph. You can see that the pops go up with the number of multiplication level on our druid right here. And it's pretty linear. I mean, that's really, really, really good. Now, even crazier, I'm going to get rid of this chart, and we're going to add in a new chart. and we did the percent change versus pops. Now, I'm not an expert at making graphs, and I didn't spend 50 minutes making this thing, but I just made a really quick graph, and you can see very clearly that the number of pops is on the bottom, and the percent change is on the top. So as the druid level goes up, boom, 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 we get more percent change. And at the max level of 5 times druid abilities, we get basically 3.3, I think, 3.4 times change right here, 3.40 percent change from the base level of pop, showing you how absolutely important getting that druid multiplication level that is. 3 times as many pops, and we can scale that with Thorn Swarm and Hard Thorns and Thunder and stuff like that. That's super important, guys. Make sure you're using your druids properly. So now that we know that we make about 3.4 times the amount of pops that we did with just regular Poplusts, well, we want to know, well, does it scale with other druids? And my guess is an approximate yes, but I still would like to know for certain. So what we're going to do is we're, of course, going to give ourselves them 0 delicious pops here. Our 0 lives, we're going to get rid of our pops, so we're starting from scratch. Oh, we're accidentally getting pops. Huh, look at that. All right, we're going to start from scratch again, and then we're going to whenever we're ready here, we're going to start this up, run this for a minute, and see if we're approximately 3.4 times as many pops. Don't forget, again, 5 times druid ability, but 0 times druid ability right there. And let's start this up. Ooh, all right. So I was looking at the numbers as time went on, and we get a fairly interesting change. 5 times druid ability here, only 17,000 pops, which is a higher number, obviously, but nowhere near 3.4 times as many pops when using a ball lightning. I want to try this out with a couple other druids. All right, so we tested it out with the Druid of the Jungle at our 5 times I can't say this word. Multiplied, man. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say buffed. I need to say buffed Druid. It's going to be 10,748, but our 0 times is going to be only is going to be a whopping 8,000. Very small changes coming off of these guys. It seems like they do a lot better job when buffing each other rather than buffing different types of druids. But I want to run a few more experiments. All right, we got two more towers here to test out for the druids. I think this is going to be a little bit closer to what we're expecting. I think. We've got a lightning druid with 5 times and a non-lightning druid with 5 times, and we get about a little more than double our popping power. So there's just something weird going on with that buff that makes things just really awkward and weird sometimes with certain upgrades. When moving on to something like the Druid of the Wrath, this is just a regular shooting tower that isn't a Poplust yet. We got 1785 for this guy and only 525 for this guy, which shows that we did more than triple our popping power by being in range over here. So again, something weird going on with the different upgrades on the Druid, but that surprised me because I always thought that it was going to give us huge amounts of buffs for putting different types of Druids in range of these other random Poplust guys, but that does not seem to be the case today. The last thing that I want to test today as far as the Avatar of Wrath is concerned is involving the Avatar of Wrath and his anger. Now, if you guys don't know, the Avatar of Wrath, as he gets angrier and angrier, he or as more balloons come out, he gets angrier and angrier, which means he shoots faster and gets stronger. I actually don't know all the details about all of that, but today what I want to test is how many balloons need to be on the screen for him to get angrier. And it should be a visual change that we can easily see here. And I think the best way to test this out is with a group of lead balloons. So the way we're going to do this is RBE of a lead balloon is approximately 26, and as far as I understand it, the attack speed of this druid is going to be based on the RBE of the balloons on the screen. So each RBE of a lead balloon is approximately 26, and I just say it's 25 for ease of math. 25 times 40 is about 1,000. So we're going to say every single time we send out a group of lead balloons with 0 spacing, that's 1,000 RBE. All right, and you can see he does not get angry against these lead balloons. As we send out another one, another 1,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, and 10,000, I don't see very many changes. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25,000 RBE, and we still have nothing going on here? Oh, I do see some anger. You can see a little bit of a flame underneath him there. Interesting. So there's definitely something going on there, but I think we need to deal with bigger numbers than what we're currently dealing with. Let's try this again, but we're going to use 400, which means we're sending out 10,000 RBE this time, every single time we send out a group of lead balloons. So we just want to see how fast these changes are going to happen. So you can see he does. He has a bit of fire come out underneath him right there. As we send out 20,000, it looks like the fire could be a little bit higher there. Very difficult to tell overall, though, with just these small changes. And we do see the lightning power up. So 30,000. He does officially start to get more powerful for sure. All right? Seems like 10,000, 30,000 seem to be a very clear and cut answer here. So let's delete these out. We're going to send out 10. As you can see, the fire. 20 doesn't seem to do much. And 30 seems to get the lightning going. 40 and 50,000. Not much more. 60. Oh, we see now we've got the underneath here. That's with 60,000. 70. 80, 90, more lightning coming out. 100,000, we get some delicious lightning coming out. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We got 150k here. 200, and then do we have any other levels beyond that, or is this the max level right here? All right, so that's definitely the most balloons that we could ever have on the screen all at once here, guys. And that is where he's going to max out. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that might be 100,000 RBE. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. For sure, it's by 100,000, but it's so difficult to tell if I base myself just on these visual changes, guys. But it is kind of important to know what numbers we take. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time here trying to figure it out for myself while I'm not have the prying eyes of you guys looking at me right now. I believe I know the numbers. I believe it's 10,000, 30,000, 60,000. I think those are the main numbers that actually affect this gameplay. So I'm going to run a new experiment here and test it out with pops against real balloons. Now, ceramic balloons have an RBE of about 104, if I'm not mistaken. So if I send out 100 ceramics, we have just over 10,000 RBE again. So we're going to test out with pops this time around and see when does the pops actually change based on how many RBE are coming out against us. So let's start off with 10,000. All right, guys, for our last experiment, I did quite a bit of digging around. I spent probably about 25 minutes messing around with this 5th tier druid to see if I could figure out where exactly that line is where the pops start to increase. This probably doesn't matter because you can't actually make more RBE on the screen, but I wanted to know for my own well-being, when does this actually start to happen? So I've got this chart for you guys right here. And you're going to notice something pretty stark here, is that the first 40,000 pops, we do gain a few more pops here and there, but it really doesn't do very much at all. But right at 50k, boom! I believe he does top off right around 70k, or if not 80k. But again, it's just, you have to test it in a certain way, and it's really, really difficult to test because you have to test with real balloons, not just with these invisible balloons, because the invisible balloons are really weird, don't really make much sense, and don't really have the correct RBE. They don't work with the Avatar of Wrath. That being said, if you guys enjoyed this weird science video about the Avatar of Wrath, make sure you press that like button for me, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you let me know what kind of things I messed up in this video. And have a super duper delicious day.